you all today. Hopefully you're able to get some of this good old sun on your face and let it kiss you, because getting your vitamin D is important right now. So I'm in my backyard, guys. I'm in my backyard. And number one, thank you, Women of Color Collaborative. I was in their first cohort and have been able to be a part of their membership and the programs that they have offered since they started. And they are doing the world an amazing service by just showing up. And I'm grateful that you two have walked into your calling on and are allowing yourselves to be vessels for women of color, light posts, lighthouses for women of color who need what you all are providing. So thank you so much for that. And I'm just glad to be in the number of those who, I'm glad you saw something in me that I can help you all and the other individuals that are on the line with us today. And so again, I say greetings to everyone. This is going to be a great experience because you get to see and realize the beauty that Mother Nature has given us that are around you every day. We're so used to going outside of ourselves for healing or something, or outside of our homes. And I'm really glad that I have had the opportunity over the last 5 years to really get in tune with what I have and what is right around me and how it could be served as healing every single day of our lives. So, I'm not sure if anybody on this line considers themselves an herbalist, but you do not have to go to school. You do not have to get a degree. You do not have to do all the things in academia in the Western world to consider yourself an herbalist. You are first and foremost a wise woman, and wise women are the ones who know the ways of the land. And so I'll just start off with this quote. Emerson said that a weed is a plant whose virtues have not yet been realized. And same way we would say a stranger is a friend you haven't met yet. Same thing. Our plant allies around us are our friends. We just haven't become acquainted. So that's what we're going to do today. We're just going to talk about 3, and I chose 3 that are pretty much everywhere. And if it's not in your yard, it's in your neighbor's yard. And that will open your eyes to the healing that is right around you. And this is something that you can tuck into the back of your minds. Plants and herbs that are near you are the ones that you need the most. And when some of my herbalist teachers, I've been taught by many. Number one of them is Sabande Greer, for individuals who know Sabande. She has been an herbalist for a number of decades, and she teaches amazing workshops all over the country. And she was one of my first teachers when it comes to herbalism. And I also want to thank Amanda. The name of her academy is the People's Medicine School, and Amanda David, she lives in New York. Her program is phenomenal. And these are women who are dedicated to decolonizing herbalism and decolonizing the practices, because this is ours. This is ours. It has always been ours, and it was ours first. So that's why I want to empower Black women to take into their hands their rightful knowledge. This is something that you should know. You are supposed to know. And so the herbs that are near you are the herbs that you need the most. So if you were to walk out into your yard, your energy, these plants are alive. Everything around us is alive. So if you were to walk outside in your yard, get acquainted with what is right here, because that is the medicine for you at this time. Okay, so you can just start there. Another tidbit of information that my herbalist teachers have told me is that the more obscure the plant is, the less you usually need them. So if you have to go to China to find this herb, you probably would only need to take it once, maybe twice a year. So the things that are really obscure, you probably won't need a lot because they're not as easily accessible. But herbs that you find everywhere are for humanity's well-being all the time. okay? I'm riding on the street and I've almost gotten into wrecks. It's sad to say, because I see yellow dock on the side of the road. I'm like, oh my gosh, oh, there it is. Like, I'm literally driving and the herbs and the plants just pop out to me. And it's so amazing once you open your mind to the vast abundance that exists around you. And that's where the abundance mindset can start within an individual, to think about, wow, everything that I need is literally right here if I look around and I give myself a different perspective. So the first, I want to talk about the plants. I want to show you the plants, and then we can go through some tips on foraging and how you do it successfully, when and why, and all that. So I know I'm going to start with a very common one. I'm going to show you a picture, and we're going to talk about some of its virtues, and then I'll show it to you in my yard. Hopefully this is not backwards when I show it to you. Please let me know if it's backwards so I can just read it. I want to talk about dandelion today. Is it facing forwards? I hope it is. Dandelion, okay? You see this picture? Everybody's very familiar with the way dandelion looks, okay? I'm going to show you in my yard in a second. This herb is everywhere. It's called, the common names for it are lion's tooth, because the leaves look serrated. And they've also named it white man's foot. And the reason why they did that, when this country was being colonized, anywhere people's feet would step, the seeds would be spread. So as individuals or colonizers and would come from different places all over the world to here, they would bring seeds on their feet. So white man's foot was another name for it. Dandelion, let's go over to where dandelion is. I'm sitting in my yard where literally all three herbs that I'm going to talk about today are to my right, in front of me, and to my left. So this should be, let's see. All right. So if you ever can't hear me or see me, just write a message or somebody flag me and let me know. Okay, so we're going over here to the dandelion. I'm going to turn my camera around. This is dandelion, and it's very easy to spot because it's bright and vibrant. And that's another way we can know that it's trying to get our attention. Dandelion wants to help us. And you see this leaf? That's why it's called lion's tooth. You see that? It looks serrated right there. Boom, boom, boom. This flower is what, when it gets to a phase where it's older, you'll see in the yard right here. This is how its seeds are spread. The kids pick them up and they blow them. That's dandelion. So we're all familiar. We all know this. We've all seen it before. In the stores, you'll have dandelion root. You'll see dandelion root a lot, but that's dandelion right there. All of this is edible. The flower is edible, the leaves are edible, and the roots can be used for medicine. This entire plant can be used for medicine. Okay, so let's talk about dandelion for a second. Then we'll go to the, excuse me, sorry everybody. We're gonna do a little bit of transplanting for a second. Okay, so let's talk about dandelion. Now, dandelion is everywhere. It's naturalized throughout the temporal world, so you can find it pretty much everywhere. The energetics, meaning how it feels in the body, typically, it's bitter. It's a bitter, right? The roots are bitter, and the flowers are warm, bitter, kind of sweet as well. The actions that it takes in the body, it's a nutritive, so it's full of nutrients. It's a diuretic. Diuretics are things that flush the body. An alterative. And a dandelion, when it comes to bitters, it's most popular for helping individuals with digestion. Okay, so I'm going to break down the leaves, the roots, and the flowers. Okay, when you pick dandelion, you'll know the difference between other flowers because it's a basal rosette, and it grows right out of the ground, right out of the ground. The leaves grow out of the ground. Everything comes out right out of the ground. That's how you know it's true dandelion. And it's not hard to dig up. The roots they are tap roots. They go straight down, but they're not really, really deep. So you can dig a dandelion root up fairly easy. So if you wanted to use all of our dandelion for medicine, okay, the leaves, they're best to pick, you know, in the springtime like now. They stimulate appetite and digestion, and it increases your metabolism, okay? So I know a lot of individuals who might resort to other things for boosting their metabolism, but dandelion is an amazing natural way to do so. It's high in potassium, and it helps to clear lymph congestion. It moves things. It's when I say it's bitter, helps with digestion, helps move things, that we would say that's how the word diuretic comes. These are the qualities of dandelion. It moves things through the body. If your lymphs are congested, we would suggest putting dandelion in a formula for that person. It helps with UTIs as well. The roots are safe. They're liver support. They enhance processing and elimination of hormones and toxins, okay? So for individuals who are dealing with addiction or want to help clear toxins out of the body, dandelion is a great way to do so. And I would put that in a formula for someone who wants to cleanse, detoxify the liver, and things of that matter. Waste, like acne, all these things are ways of moving things out of the body and getting things through it, okay? So it warms and it moves, dandelion. It's a mild laxative, and it increases your bowel production. So those are things that the average person might not want to know, but dandelion is amazing for moving. It warms and it moves, okay? The flowers, the yellow flowers, they are, I tell you right now, I've picked dandelion before, picked it a number of times, and you have to use the flowers quickly, because the flowers, after they are harvested, you know, they'll close, but then they'll start to fuzz. Like the seeds will actually, if you don't use it in a salad pretty quickly, they'll fuzz, they'll pop on you, and you won't be able to, I mean, I can't say you won't eat it, but it wouldn't be the pretty yellow decoration you were looking for. So you have to be quick, you know, with the dandelion flowers, but they help with, they help for muscle tension, aches, stiffness, arthritis, breast and lymph massage, and dry skin. If you wanted to use the flowers for their medicinal properties, making an infusion with oil is best. Yes, you can boil it and drink it as tea. No, with any herb, you want to boil the water first and then put the herbs in, because if you put the herbs in when the water is boiling or on the stove, it loses, it kills some of the nutritive benefits of the plant, okay? We don't want it to get too hot.
Jackie, Maya's question about the dandelion, how does dandelion work as a tincture? Leaves, roots, how do you use it as a tincture?
Okay. Not how to make a tincture, but how to use it as a tincture. Okay.
Well, her question was, does dandelion work as a tincture? And so I guess maybe you can just describe
Yes, tincture making, any of these herbs today, you can make a leaf tea, a tincture, a vinegar, an infused flower oil. All of these herbs can be made into those things. The menstruum, that's what you're using to put it into. So yes, it can be used as a tincture. The root tincture, they specify, most times they specify if it's a root dandelion root tincture, because root medicine is a little bit stronger and more concentrated than leaf medicine. And at some parts of the year, you have to be mindful when you harvest, because I'll just use burdock for an example. We're not talking about burdock today, but it's a really good example. It's a biennial, so it grows every 2 years. And in the fall of that second year, that plant sends all of its medicine down to its roots. Most plants in the fall, getting ready for the winter, send its medicine and energy to the roots. So if you want strong medicine from certain plants, certain times of the year is when you want to harvest their roots. So, excuse me, some went down the wrong tube. Dandelion, most of the time, if it's tinctured, it's a root. And the roots, again, are for liver support. They enhance the processing and the elimination of excess hormones, toxins, waste in the body. They help with morning sickness, PMS, hangovers, gout, things of that matter. And all those things are problems with things being stuck and congestion, right? So we're talking about dandelion, which warms and moves, okay? It's a digestive stimulant, and like I said, a mild laxative. So all of these things are breaking things up and getting it moving, okay? Hopefully that answers your question. If it does not, let me know. So that's dandelion. Well, we're very familiar with that herb. It's everywhere. I have decorated desserts with the little dandelion flowers to make it yellow. And what's very important, I know I'll hit on it later, but I want to say it now, just in case some people have to drop off. Where you harvest or where you forage is very important. It's very important that you know the space, know that it's clean, that it has not been sprayed with pesticides, herbicides, or fungicides, okay? That's why my backyard, I know that I don't spray here, and I haven't done anything like that since I've lived here, and I've lived here for a number of years. So it's good to know where you're foraging from, because you don't want to inadvertently ingest something that might be harmful to you. All right. The next herb, it's one of my favorites, and I did not realize I had a big patch of them in my own yard until today, because I went to another place to harvest them. And that is violet. Don't we just love the violets? Okay, sorry, can you see, guys? Violet. Let me see. Can you see violet? Violet. Violet. Violet looks like this. It's a little picture. We're going to talk about violet for a second, and then I'll show them to you. They're the common blue violet. They've been known as pansies. You might hear people say pansies, or the lesbian flower. I go to a lot of herbal conferences, and they're usually women's conferences. But the violet, if you look at its leaves, and I'm going to show you on the actual flower instead of on the picture. This, the flower, the leaves are shaped like the heart, an actual heart. And it's so beautiful. But violets are very, very common, and they're very, very cooling. So if you're doing energy work and you're thinking about if someone is heartbroken, this flower has an affinity towards the heart. It's shaped like a heart. And if we think, you've heard individuals talk about, or memes online about what parts of the body, or what can this vegetable or fruit be good for me for, right? So instead of going to PubMed or WebMD, look at the shape of the actual plant. That's called the doctrine of signatures. And the doctrine of signatures is a language that the universe has with us to help us see what it's trying to do and help us in our bodies. Fruits, vegetables, and plants have energy. And that's when I said earlier, I'm going to talk about some of the energetics and the actions of each plant. That's how I was taught by my teachers. So those are the words that I'm using, because plants are alive and they interact with us in particular ways. And that's what helped me understand the plant world a lot better, because it wasn't an it that I was looking at. It had something to do with my body. It had something to do with my energy. Yellow, we just talked about the dandelion. Yellow, that is, sorry, my little phone talking about some low batteries. So sorry. Yellow, that's solar plexus energy. That's vibrant. That's go, go, go. The violet deals with the energy of, number one, it's shaped like a heart, and it also deals with our third eye right here. But that's energy stuff. That's energy stuff. But the reason why I'm saying that is because it lets you, these flowers that are alive are letting you know how they can assist you, in what areas they can assist you every day throughout your walk. There's healing around us all the time. And you don't even have to be into all, you don't have to be into that to allow the plant world to minister to you on any type of level. But I want to share those parts of information with you so we don't just continue to think of our plant allies as something pretty to look at. It's definitely healing in all types of ways. So let's go to the violet. I'm gonna turn my camera around. You see, I got a whole patch right in front of me. I was so elated when I came outside today. Their blooms, they're open during the majority of part of the day, and they close when the sun goes down. So around 4-5 o'clock is when these will close up. But this is the violet. And you see this? Hold on, let me go to. I got another plant that's mixed in there that I'm talking about today. You see this? It's shaped like a heart, literally. Boom. You see that? Isn't that pretty? It's so pretty. So, and these are all parts of the violet are edible and are medicine as well. The leaves, the blooms of the flower, and the root. The root is, it's a shallow root as well, but the root is actually a mild botanical. It's very strong medicine. Okay, so coming back to my seat. Violet. And if any of you guys have noticed these things through the pictures or me showing them to you now and that they're in your yard, please go outside, talk to them, get acquainted, and see what type of medicine that you can make with these flowers and the leaves. It's a cooling herb, okay? Dandelion warms and moves. Violet cools. And for anything that's hot or itchy, you know what I'm saying? Scrapes, wounds, bites, rashes, and things of that matter, for burns, hemorrhoids, sinuses, anything that's hot and irritated, violet can help soothe. It's swollen lymph nodes, anything like that. Now, how you would use it, the menstruum, like people like to make salves or oils out of violet. And a premium, when I tell you premium, I was able to sample it myself. It's great to make a lube out of because it's so rich and smooth. I was able to experience Sacred Waters Retreat. I've been for the last 3 years, and Lucretia Van Dyke is one of my herbalist teachers, and she came and she taught a class about herbal aesthetics, and she brought some violet lube that she had made with her. It felt so good, and I was like, wow, this is in my backyard. This is amazing. But if you're gonna take away anything from lavender, you just know that it soothes inflammation, things that are hot. It cools and it's calm. It's a great source of vitamin A. It actually has more vitamin A than spinach. The leaves, like I said, the leaves and the flowers, all of it is edible. And I have a recipe for a salad that I'll share with Erica and Nicole that they can make available to you all, so that you can start using your herbs that are in your backyard on a daily basis, or whenever you see fit. One thing about harvesting, we harvest, but we don't over harvest. You know what I'm saying? Because we definitely want to make sure that abundance continues to exist. But there's recipes for soups, recipes for salads with violets, because they're so beautiful. I have experienced tasting vinegars that have been made with the flowers and poultices that have been made. What at the beginning when I was talking about soothing inflammation, or if there is scrape or a bite, you can make a poultice. A poultice is very easy. A poultice is literally you take the leaves and you mash them. And when you're outside or something like that and you don't have time to go get a mortar and pestle and do all that, put it in your mouth, chew it a little bit, and then put it right on the scrape or the bruise of the cut. That's a poultice. And then if you have a towel or a rag, you can wrap something around that so that, you know, that holds the herb on. But that's literally one of the 3 herbs that I'm talking about should be in everybody's herbal first aid or in your first aid kits at home, you know, unless you have one that you've bought. But again, we're trying to get back to doing these things naturally, the ways of old, the ways that our ancestors just did things before they had Band-Aids and Neosporin. Okay. So, So a poultice, you can, anything for skin irritation, you can make a tea for that, and you can take a towel, dip it in the tea, you know, and put that, you know, solution on your skin if it's irritated with a rash or anything like that. Infusing the violet flowers and honey, it's beautiful, number 1. And number 2, it's great for bruises and burns. Okay. Bruises, burns, any type of irritation. It's really good for that. And again, if you were to infuse the leaves and the flowers in honey, you can put that inside of a tea for the future. You can use it in recipes. You know, if you were to make something, it would be great as the pigment that would change the color to a recipe for a cupcake or a recipe for a bread, a nice bread. And you're thinking that, okay, I'm using honey as my sweetener, but I'm also adding vitamin A and a lot of nutritive things to this. So it gives you an opportunity to really be creative when you have certain herbs at your disposal. And so let's go back to these leaves, right? These leaves are shaped like the heart. So if you were thinking about how can I help someone or anybody that's suffering from trauma or fear or having problems letting go, violet can be an amazing plant ally for them. You can buy them a violet. You can make tea with the violet leaves. You can make a salve or a balm, meaning that you can take the oil once you've infused the violet leaves in oil, and there's a process to that. And if you would like to know more about that, just let me know. But after you make the oil infusion with the violet leaves, that would sit for 6 to 8 weeks. You can use beeswax, mix those things together. You could also put some other essential oils in that batch if you would like. And you can rub that. That can be a balm that you can use to rub. It's really, really good for breast massage. Again, because this is talking about something that cools. So if you might have a lump or something that you want to disperse or break up, or if your breasts are sore, if you're pregnant, and it's perfectly okay for pregnant people. If your breasts are sore if you're having PMS or anything like that, you can use this as a rub, a balm, a salve on yourself. So infused oils are really good when it comes to violet. Letting go, issue and trauma systems, anything dealing with the heart, anything right here, energy wise, violets are great for. So I know there's a lot going on in the world around us today. A lot. Some people are experiencing serious trauma. Stock markets are plummeting. It's traumatic when you go to the store and can't find toilet paper. I mean, you know? So the fact that violets are in my backyard means that I'm supposed to be using this. This is something that's going to help me through this traumatic it can be looked at as traumatic. I personally have engineered my brain to think of everything as an opportunity for success. So the environment and the economy might be doing all this, but I'm sitting here being able to share knowledge with women of color, and it wouldn't have come about in this way if it weren't for the current situation. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful in all areas and all aspects, because there's abundance around me, and we just had an opportunity to look at the abundance. There's a big, huge patch of this heart healing medicine in my yard. So Jordan, I love me some Jordan. Okay, sorry guys. So it soothes the breast tissue, anything like that in the heart-mind connection. The lavender, thinking about purple. Violet helps with your heart-mind connection, okay? So let me make sure I didn't forget anything. Did anybody ask any questions about Violet, before I move on? I think
we're good on Violet right now.
Okay, cool. All right. Because I can go. Oh, preparations, just like I said before I skip to the next one. Infused oil, salve, tea, a cold infusion, meaning that you can put it in water without it being hot, to infuse it. You can make a wash, a poultice, a compress, and you can eat it as food. All of those uses. All right. So my last one. Oh yeah. Okay. My last one is, I realize now that I used one of the common names for dandelion for plantain. I'll fix it. Is plantain. Plantain. Not the cousin to the banana that comes on the tree. I'm talking about plantain that grows in your yard. Plantain looks like this. Plantain. Oh, I hope the paper looks okay. Sorry if it doesn't. That's more close-up picture of plantain. Plantain is the one that's called the white man's footprint. That's the one. Everywhere. There's over 200 species distributed worldwide of plantain. And remember what I told you, our guys, at the beginning, the more a plant is available and accessible and around, the more we should be using it. They're in gardens, roadsides, pathways, full sun, even in part shade, everywhere. It grows where people are. Plantain grows where people are. Plantain people. So we should be familiar with plantain because it's trying to be our friend. So let's go visit some plantain. Let me see if I have to get it. It's literally everywhere, guys. Oh, it's right there. I don't even have to get up. Let me turn my camera. This is plantain. There's a broadleaf plantain, and then there's a narrow leaf plantain. This is more, let me see my yard man came. Let's see. This is the narrow leaf plantain. It's narrow right here. But there is a species, and I think I have it in my yard as well. You see how it just sticks up out? Pops up out the ground right there. Plantain. I know you have it. How many people got this in their yard? Let me see your hands. I know y'all got it in your yard. You have to. It grows where people grow. Oh, here it is. Here's the broad. This is the broadleaf. It's fatter. It's wider. Broadleaf plantain. Narrow. The narrow leaf plantain. That's Plantura majora, and this is Plantura minora, as far as like the scientific name. Okay. Boom. I know you had it. Whoever said that? Who said that? Oh, my mama said that. Hey, mama. Okay, so let me turn that around. All right, that's our last. We looked at our last herb. Okay. So plantain. Ask me again, and I'll tell you the same. Where'd that come from? That's funny. Oh, pudding and tang. See, my mama popped up on here, and my childhood memories started coming out. Okay. All right. So they have, like those egg-shaped kind of leaves. So you all saw what it looks like. It's everywhere. So plantain is amazing for splinters, bug bites. It's great for venom, that you get stung with something. It's great for that. So that's why I was talking about your herbal first aid kit, or knowing what things around you can help you in times where you get stung or bit or scratch. A poultice is the quickest way to get that herb, you know, break up that cell wall and get it, all of the plant constituents out of it and onto you. Take it right here, or you can cut it up, but it's not going to be as good as just putting it right in your mouth. All these things are edible. They're not going to harm you. There's no counterindications of taking them, even if you're on medication. There's no counterindications from what I've read in my research and what I've been taught. But you know, I know there's always gray areas out there, but from what I know and what I've been taught and what I've read, there's not any counterindications. This is a cooling herb as well. It's a cooling herb. It helps with, like, if there were to be something irritated, pus and something, boils and things like that, just like violet, it helps, it cools. It's mucilaginous, mucus, kind of slimy. Okay, so when things are slimy, they help things, they help things move. The word salty, as far as astringent, energies, doesn't mean that it tastes salty. Salty means that it's full of vitamins and minerals. It's nutritive. It's a nutritive. That word salty and nutritive go together. It's anti-inflammatory. It's an antimicrobial, and it's a drawing agent. So if that's why it's good for venom and stings, because it draws whatever venom is in the skin, it draws it out. Okay. And those are things that you would use it for externally. Okay. External things, but internally, it's good for inflammatory digestive disorders. So leaky gut, ulcers, acid reflux, things like that. Plantain could be made into a tea. It can be food. Now, sometimes it's really easy. It's easier to put these herbs instead of, when I say instead of, sometimes you have to prepare, cut things up, put it in the oil, let it sit. Or if you're going to make a tea, you have to boil the water, make sure you get the herbs and all of that stuff. But if you were to pick these herbs fresh, got your salad ready, it'd be a nice garnish. It's easy. It's easier for me, in my mind. It's easier to put these things in a salad or put it on something green. Add it into a sandwich that you're eating. Instead of, as well as lettuce or spinach, put you a couple of plantain leaves in there. See how that tastes. Now, these things have to be acquired. I'm not going to say it's going to taste like the way things usually taste to us. But healing medicine is an acquired taste at times. But it's not a bitter like dandelion is. If you put dandelion in the salad, you're going to, just like arugula, it's like, ooh, I taste that, So it's a soothing expectorant internally. Expectorants are things that bring things up and out. Okay, expectorant. So like things that get mucus out. If you have a dry hacking cough, like dust or particles or smoke inhalation and things like that, it's good to take plantain in a tea form for things like that. It's a soothing diuretic for UTIs and irritation. So plantain soothes and is anti-inflammatory. So it calms and it pulls the things that are hot or irritating, like a sting or venom, it pulls it out. Okay. So those are the 3 herbs that I wanted to talk about today. And I went through the showing you, so I showed them to you. Now, how to forage? What are best practices for foraging? I've got about 9 of them that I've taken note of for you. And for my new to herbal or gardening situations, I have some really good resources and things to show you about people who want to get started with this. But again, I'm talking about that part is like gardening or putting things in pots. I can help you with that. But again, nature has things right here. This is the biggest garden ever, right here in your backyard. So number 1, when you're foraging or trying to harvest herbs around you or go somewhere to do that, correctly identify the plant before harvesting. And for us that are technologically savvy, I suggest that you find a plant identification app that you can use. There are a number of them out there. I've used multiple ones. So I just encourage you to find one that you like, or find one that you've used, or when you use it, it brings you pretty much accurate results. And there's always a way to fact check, you know what I'm saying? But that could be one of your first lines of finding out information through a plant identification app if you're not sure. And being prepared when you're going to start foraging. You should have a small pruning shears or scissors, a canvas bag. When I say a canvas bag could be a basket, and it could easily be a paper bag. And you want to use paper instead of plastic, because plastic is artificial and there's chemicals in plastic. And paper helps to keep the herbs fresher to where they don't wilt, and they are going to wilt. But what I'm saying is it doesn't add moisture to where they would, shrivel up before you're able to set them out or able to put them on a drying rack. So you want to also take a notebook or a camera or a pen and pencil, because if you're not able to identify an herb right away, you can take a picture of it, and then you can go look at some resources, identify it, and see if you want to harvest it later, or write notes about it. And you can bring a small plant identification book with you too. Plant identification books are really cool. I like them. And like I said, there's two options, a book or an app, for people that, use their phones a lot. The app might be more realistic, but I like books too, because the individuals whose books I buy, I follow their work, and I know how they look at herbalism, because it's very important that you look at the person who wrote the book and their perspective of herbalism. That's why I decided to only be taught by black teachers and black women, because they are the ones, and their ancestors are the ones who held the secrets to herbalism. And I wanted to come and learn herbalism from a decolonized perspective. I didn't want to learn it from the Western way and then have to, completely change the way I'm thinking, or then revert back to what my ancestors did. I just wanted to start there. So I made a very concerted effort to make sure I was taught by women of color. Okay, so 3, be on the lookout. Whatever you come across, that's why I was telling you, I'll drive and I'll see something and I'm like, oh snap. Be on the lookout for herbs. Be on the lookout for how the plant kingdom wants to jump out and talk to you while you are driving, walking. Well, not when you're driving. Okay, that was a bad example. Don't do it while you're driving. Okay. While you're walking or not behind the wheel, be on the lookout. You might be looking for one herb, but then you might find something else that might be very useful as well. And when you're harvesting, you always want to ask permission to receive the healing benefits of the flower, of the herb, because that's what it's here for. But you never want to take without asking, because everything about life is about give and take, reciprocity. We can't exist without the trees or the bees. So when we're harvesting the honey, or when we're doing anything with our plant allies or our animal allies, we want to ask permission, because they communicate with each other just like we do. And if they don't feel like you're harvesting with gratitude and appreciation, they'll move their medicine. And I have heard so many stories of that, plants moving their medicine. What's that movie that the trees were talking? What's that movie where they had the big blue people? What's that movie? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Oh, what is that? Avatar. Yes, honey. Avatar. I love that movie. But it just shows how the healing power of plants and how they talk and they communicate. So if they want to move their medicine, they'll move their medicine. So And just as we're finding out now, the world and the plant kingdom do not need us. They're absolutely fine. We are here by their graces, and we're grateful for it. Okay,
Jackie, just
so
quick time check.
Okay,
We
what is it?
wrap up in about 2 minutes, and then there was one question that I want to be able to get to before we close out. So if you want to
Okay, I'm gonna move quick. I can do it. I can do it. So like I stated earlier, take picture of unfamiliar herbs. You know, take your time, walk slowly while you're out there. I mentioned this earlier. Know the area that you're harvesting so that it's clean and you know who owns the land or what happens on that land. Don't ignore common plants. That was the main goal of everything that we talked about today. Don't ignore what's in your backyard. Everything possibly could have a healing, could be medicine. Some things are herbs, some things are weeds that you necessarily can't use, but not everything is. Harvest responsibly. Don't strip the wild plant. Only take what you need. Okay. And flowers are best picked when they're in full bloom, okay? Just as they begin to open up before they start to wilt. That's the best time to harvest them. During the day, you want to think early morning after the dew, after the wetness and the dew is gone. That's the best time to pick a plant. Oh, you know, harvest the herb. Always pick flowers on a dry and a sunny day because rain can wash away much of their precious nectar and their pollen, okay? And for roots, like I was telling you, in autumn is the best time to do that for roots because the aerial parts of the plants have died back and it sends their energy underground to the root to store over winter. So if you want to get roots for plants, the autumn is the best time for that. And the flowers and the leaves is best, you know, in springtime now when they're in full bloom. That's all. Question?
Thank you so much, Jackie. So Nicole's gonna go ahead up the spotlight, the flyer. There it is. So if folks need to bounce, I understand. This is Jackie's information. You can see her website, her Instagram handle. You can definitely hit her up and she will be more than happy to answer additional questions. Also, as with all of our presenters, they have graciously offered to come and participate and offer this free of charge to everyone. However, we do believe fully in paying Black women what they are worth, even though we know we could never fully afford that. So if you receive some amazing information from Jackie and you want to sew back into her Cash App tag is also listed on there. So for those of you who may need to leave, thank you so much for joining us. Tomorrow we have an amazing class on using art as part of our sort of relief and healing process. But if you can hang out for a couple minutes, I think Jackie's going to answer a few questions. So Jackie, you still there? You still with us? I think I see your picture is gone. Okay, just making sure you're still here. So one of the questions, Jackie, you can unmute yourself. The first one was around specific herbs that may help if someone's had it's a very specific question. If someone's had maybe a mild stroke, so maybe some nerve damage or blockages, are there any common herbs that we can tap into to help get our bodies back to sort of that optimal functioning?
I'm back. Sorry, my battery died. All right.
No worries. Did you hear my question or no?
It cut off right before you got to make your question. Ask me one more time.
Yeah, so this question is about someone who's maybe suffered from a mild stroke. And so thinking about some of the nerve and neurological impact of maybe that particular health challenge or crises. Are there any common herbs that can be used to help better regulate our systems after that type of trauma?
Right off the top, I would suggest a family of herbs called, thank you, Alexis, nervines.
I think we may have lost Jackie again, y'all. But what I can do is we can gather the information. I think that was Christiana who asked the question. and we can send it. This is what we'll do in the follow-up email. Jackie is going to send us recipes to use from the herbs that she mentioned, as well as some additional book resources that she is able to provide. And we'll make sure we answer these last couple questions that were in the chat box and also send that out in sort of a follow-up email through your registration process from Eventbrite, okay? So if you have additional questions, feel free to drop them in the chat box, and Nicole and I will make sure we get some of that information passed on to Jackie and answered.
I'm sorry, I was here the whole time. Not sure why I did that. I apologize. Did you hear that I said nervines? Okay.
I heard nervine and then you went blank again.
Okay, sorry everyone, but quickly, yes, nervines. Two nervines that I work with specifically are oat straw and blue vervain. But you know, those two are within the nervine family. So I would definitely have to, you know, look into that specific situation, because there's no cookie cutter way to talk to or handle people when you're talking about certain ailments in the body, because everybody's body makeup is different. But I would start with the family of herbs called nervines.
Lovely, thank you. And then I think Annie asked a question around, is there a healthy intake frequency that she should keep in mind, or that we should keep in mind, probably in regards to any of the herbs or our intake?
Healthy intake. Okay. Well, like I stated, I feel as though the research that I've done on the 3 herbs that I talked about, they're in abundance, because the use of them normally, regularly, 1 to 2 ounces, which is more than, that's about 3 tablespoons or something, you know, a day will be absolutely fine. But what people would put in a tea daily would be nowhere near any high amounts. Again, these herbs are not herbs that have been found to have counterindications or negative effects in the body. Even when taken with a tea, a herb, or a salve. A tincture is more concentrated, and they'll tell you on the side of the tincture 1 to 2 droppers full a day, you know, with the tincture. But most of the time, individuals that are foraging in their backyard, like myself, I can make a tincture, I can make all these things, but it's easier to use the fresh leaf. And the tea, 1 to 2 cups a day would be absolutely fine, or if not more, because of it's a mild medicine. It's not real heavy medicine.
Perfect. That was super insightful. One of the things I'm really curious about, Jackie, if you have just a few more moments, since folks are still here, I mean, we are recording, so it'll still be there. Do you have any, I know you couldn't show us exactly how to actually harvest the herbs. Do you have any just tips on what to do to keep the medicine intact as we are actually harvesting?
Okay. This is what I do, because I have a basket. I have a wicker woven, that's how you say it, basket that I take out with me, and making sure that your herbs stay intact while you're together, while you're harvesting. I would bring, like I said, the paper sacks, like you would take a sack lunch to school. You gather your herbs, you can cut them, use your scissors or your shears to cut them, and then place them in individual bags if you're doing different herbs as far as identification is concerned, so you can separate them when you get them to a place where you want to dry them out. But make sure that there's nothing in the basket or the bag that could mash them up. I'll just put it like that. You know, heavy objects in the bag, like your shears, if you're using your shears, I've experienced putting my leaves in the same basket as my shears, and my shears kind of tore up my leaves. So that's why having another bag or a backpack or something with you to where you can put your shears or something, things that are heavy in other bags or other places. Or if you individually put your herbs in the brown paper sacks, you could put your shears in the bottom of the basket, just so that they're not possibly rubbing against or tearing up the herbs. The best way to keep your medicine intact is to harvest during the parts of the day where the medicine is most powerful and there. So that in the morning time after the dew leaves, and when the flowers are most vibrant, that's when you want to pick them. When they look the prettiest, that means their medicine is and they're at their prime. They're at their prime. So that's the best time to harvest them and make sure that they're kept intact. In my opinion, from what I've seen and what I've done. Hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah, it was. Anyone else have any other questions since we're hanging out here?
Are there,
Go ahead.
should we type it or ask? Sorry.
No, you can ask. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, thank you again. This is amazing. Are there other herbs that you would recommend for a beginning herbalist to kind of experiment with? Just, as we try to build our own little toolbox, or I heard you refer to an herbal first aid kit. Like, are those things just to kind of research, but are there recommended beginners herbs or whatnot?
That question is, I think that's that you can look at it from an academic perspective, you can, but when it comes to getting to know the plant kingdom, I think working with what's around you is the best way to start.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because what's around you is most accessible. You're not going to have to go to a herb store to find the medicine and to work with it. It's literally right outside your back door. So I would start there. And okay, I saw the pages you showed me from. Okay, I saw that. Okay, Erica, can you read that comment from Ashley in a second? But to finish out what I was saying, the medicine that's right near you is what helps you to start your herbalism journey. You could always branch out from there. But if like most of the time, if I was a mom at this point, my first day journey would start. My journey would start with probably first aid, because there's kids that fall and scrape themselves and get owies and have to deal with fevers. So the regular things that come up in daily life is where my herbal journey would start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll ask the question just a second, but one of the things that brought up for me, and just sort of how I've been able to frame my own healing journey, Jackie, you do such a great job of reminding me, like, start with what is there. What are you drawn to? You asked me quite a bit, like, what do you like? Or I know you're a Virgo, and so this particular herb speaks to that element, right? And so I think that's a really great starting place, is to, like she said, not just like what is around you, but think about what you're drawn to. And just because of the way I program my brain, it's an easier access point, right? As opposed to just getting a list of information. If I know what I'm already drawn to, what's already around me, what I already have an inclination to feel close to, then that is a really great place for my brain to sort of get in the rhythm that I'll need of learning that particular herb or medicine.
Agreed. Hold on, Erica. I did want to shout out to my mom, and wanted to, I know, I just love her. I want to agree with what you just said, and then add that if there's a tea that you already like, you literally already like it, start there. Outside of it just tasting good to you, what has drawn you, like Erica said, to this herb? I have to shout out my mom now, because hibiscus is one of my allies. It has been my ally since I've been a child. And Erica will tell you, hibiscus is in every formula that I give, because it makes me feel good. It reminds me of my mother. It reminds me of my childhood. My mother used to give us red zinger tea when we were younger, and she gave it to us straight. She didn't put any sugar or anything in it, but we got used to drinking it like that. I mean, it was good. It was just good. But hibiscus was one of the main ingredients in red zinger, and I was, later on in my herbal journey, I went to Costa Rica with Sabande for a Afro botany immersion course retreat. And they asked you to go into this forest, well, not forest, but go into this botanical garden and see what speaks to you. And the first flower, which I didn't know at the time, that spoke to me was this beautiful red bloom, and it had all these yellow things coming out of it. And I was like, oh, you're so pretty. What are you? I don't know what you are, but you spoke to me. And then I get back and sit down, and they're like, oh, it's hibiscus. And I said, what? So again, it had been in my life forever, but it made itself known to me at the time where I was identifying what my plant allies were. So more than likely, it's already in your life. You just have to pay attention. Okay, sorry. So go ahead with the next one.
So Ashley asked about the pages of your book, the resources that you were showing us from the binder. I think that was is that from Amanda's class?
It is from Amanda's class.
Okay. What specific books or resources that you should suggest for us?
I would suggest number one, I left it outside. I brought it out with me. It's called The Book of Eden. It is full of herbal remedies, home remedies. It's one of those books I had purchased it for a course, but when I opened it and saw the vast amount of knowledge that's in it, I highly, highly recommend it. And I also recommend a book called Working the Roots. And I'm gonna show it to you guys. Oh, I don't know if I can show it, but Michelle Lee is the author, and the book is called Working the Roots: Over 400 Years of Traditional African American Healing. She goes all over the country, and she is interviewing men and women, people of the diaspora, about their herbal knowledge, and she's telling stories. That's how our people learn. We learn by telling stories. We're griots. So that's a whole lot of books. Queen Afua's book is full of herbal information. Heal Thyself, full of herbal information, as well as natural healing ways of living. But she talks about herbalism in that book as well. And I did mention Rootwork Herbals is Amanda David's platform, and I did mention the People's Medicine School, and that's a great resource. Her website is amazing for learning herbal medicine. And these books, well, the Book of Eden is not it's not by a Black author, but Working the Roots is. And I don't think Sabande has books out there, but I've learned a lot from going to herbal conferences where I'm actually learning from individuals' mouths. But I would say, is it Back to Eden? What did I say? Oh, yeah, it's Back to Eden, Lydia. Sorry. What did I say? Back to Eden, guys. That's the name of the book.
And I'm just typing with all kind of confidence that what you're telling me is right.
Girl, they got to get me right. What Back to
Eden.
Eden.
Back to Eden.
Yes, Back to Eden. Yeah. And there's a product out right now that's called Seed Sheets, SEED SHEETS, and I have a mini seed sheet that has 3 different organic type of herbs. If you wanted to do a windowsill garden, if you want to do an herb garden inside, it makes it very, very easy to grow herbs inside. It comes with how you water it, the seeds and the oil. So it comes with soil. You literally, it's a kit. It comes with soil, herbs, organic seeds, and the little device to water it with. And it even has an app that comes with it and talks about what's happening with this plant, when to water. I don't know how they did it, but it's off the Shark Tank, and it's an amazing new thing. It's called a Seed, SEED sheet, SHEET, seed sheet. I have mine. I've started mine. My seed, my herbs haven't started to grow yet, but I have started mine. It's great, guys.
Great. Well, Jackie, thank you so much for your time and your wisdom. I always enjoy learning at your feet, sis. This was amazing. Thank you for everyone
Yay!
who was on the call. You guys were amazing and all the interaction. It really just helped enrich the learning. I hope you were able to find some new information to help you on your own journey as you expand and grow and learn. So we look forward to hopefully seeing you again tomorrow. Feel free to join us as we art as healing. And y'all have a good rest of your night. Be safe. Peace.
Peace.